Hey guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. Welcome to Mental Training with Mez. I am Meslin, your mental fitness trainer here on YouTube. And it is now the month of September, which means we are now increasing our sitting duration to 15 minutes. So we are now up to 15 minutes of sitting silent and still, which is a form of mental training that we do. We train the mind to be attentive to reality, to pay attention to life. And today's brief discussion is about judgment. Judgment is really about our ability to see. It is a discerning tool that a healthy mind uses in order to see beyond appearances. When you understand that divinity is everything, that everything is just a form that God is taking, you learn to be able to use your thinking faculty, which is our ability to know, in order to see beyond appearances. Things might appear one way, but at the deep level, the core level, everything is just a form God is taking. And when we learn to keep our focus of attention on truth, our ability to know, which means to use our intelligence to think in order to know, is going to allow us to make more sound choices and take better action. Meaning the action we take is going to be beneficial to not only ourselves, but everyone involved. Now, an unhealthy mind is going to use judgment to dismiss knowledge or information. It's going to use judgment in order to be distracted. Anytime we're willing to judge someone like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're telling a lie, or there's no truth to that, or they're crazy, or they're evil, or they're demonic, or they're possessed, or whenever we're passing judgment, it's really using your intelligence to simply dismiss knowledge or information. You're not necessarily going to gain understanding when we're using our thinking faculty to dismiss knowledge or understanding, because a healthy mind is not afraid of knowledge or information. A healthy mind is aware of its divinity, which means it is aware of its power to discern. And so we would much rather know than not know, because what we can do with what we know is better to our advantage than not knowing something and trying to do it. And so an unhealthy mind is very quick to dismiss knowledge or information, and it's also quick to be distracted. So we say things like, no, don't even pay attention to that. Don't even bother reading that book. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to. So we allow ourselves to be distracted. We allow habits to distract us. And this is, again, what makes us make choices or take action. You okay, baby? You all right, mama? And this forces us to take action or make choices that we are not necessarily prepared to handle, because anytime you're making choices and taking action from an unhealthy state of being, meaning you're not really using your intelligence the way we were designed to use it, we're not going to be prepared for the consequences that come from those actions, because by nature, they're not intended to benefit us. And when we are experiencing something that's not intended to benefit us, you either have to awaken to the lesson in that, meaning learn that this is not a good way to use your thinking faculty, or you're going to be on survival mode, looking for a way to defend, protect yourself, which again, doesn't allow us to gain understanding of life. The faith-based mental training that we do on this channel is for that purpose. We want to gain as much knowledge and understanding of life, because life is the very thing that we are seeking to be safe in, that we want to be happy in, that we want to be content in, that we want to feel powerful and loved and supported in. And so we want to give all our focus of attention, everything we have within us, to that reality, because life is not something that is abstract. It's very much real. And so we train our mind to focus on reality, to pay attention to the truth of reality. And so when we learn to pay attention to the truth of reality, we come into the abilities and qualities of divinity itself, which means we get to see what life is at its very core. And that knowledge, seeing beyond appearances, is what's going to give us permission to actually trust life. And when we're trusting life, we're moving in harmony with it. So we're at a state of mental calm, mental peace. And a calm mind is always going to be your best bet. because it means that it's vibrating and radiating at a higher frequency. And you always want to know that a healthy mind is going to be the most dominant frequency, because for your mind to be healthy, it has to be aware of its divinity. And that's what we're training ourselves to do. Pay attention to life, because life is what is important in this moment. And by paying attention to life, we're coming into knowledge and understanding about it. And that information is what's going to allow us to make mental adjustments, meaning shift the way you're seeing life. Because if you're using your thinking faculty to just judge people, to just dismiss or be distracted by them, we're basically misusing our power. And divinity has granted us the ability and capacity to heal and create at will. But that is not a power that can be used unconsciously. We have to consciously use it. But to consciously use it, we first have to be aware that we have it in the first place. And then secondly, we have to be aware of the level of accountability and responsibility it takes to wield divinity, to wield supreme power. So that's what we're going to be doing. That is the form of training we do on this channel, is that we focus on divinity. So the faith-based mental training that we do is based on the principles of faith, trust, sincerity, discipline, patience, and purity. And so the techniques that we implement in our mental training are intended to help us lead and live a life of faith. So faith is not blind action. Faith is really about paying hyper focus of attention to life, to the breath. And this allows us to take action without being distracted by things that would form, or that things that would happen in our experience that would allow us to form habits and beliefs that don't keep us moving forward, that make us feel stagnant, that make us feel unstable. And so we want to come out of a state of turbulence and into a state of calm, of inner resolve, because that's the state that divinity designed us to be in life. So the prerequisites is, before we get started with mental training, is be sure to wear comfortable clothing. We are going to be sitting silent and still for 15 minutes. And so you want to make sure you're wearing clothing that's going to allow you to do that comfortably. If you find it difficult to sit silent and still, it might help you to use meditation beads. Do I have them? No, I don't have them with me. I'll make sure to bring them. But meditation beads are intended to help you keep your focus of attention on your breathing. Oh, thank you, baby girl. And so each bead, thank you, mama. Each bead represents an inhale and exhale cycle. So every time you hold a bead, you're simply inhaling, exhaling, and then moving to the next bead. This is really, really helpful if you find it difficult to keep your focus of attention on your breathing. You also might want to move the body a little bit, stretch, kind of wiggle, just, move your body, because sometimes sitting still, especially if you're not used to it, can create a bit of anxiety and anxiousness. But that's what we're working to ease out of our bodies, because our true nature is to be able to sit silent and still with ease. But use the restroom, drink some water, do what you feel you need to do before you get ready to sit in a comfortable position for 15 minutes. The next thing is, please make sure you're in a space where you feel comfortable enough to close your eyes should you feel the need to. You don't have to close your eyes during our training, but if you feel compelled to, if you're in such a relaxed state of being that you want to close your eyes, I would like for you to at least be in a space where you feel comfortable doing so that it doesn't serve as a distraction. Lastly, allow the body temple to relax. Have back support. We are going to be sitting upright so that our spine is elongated and erect. This allows us to really sit in our divinity, to really allow the breath to reveal to us, to show us, to bring us into a state of alertness of the present moment. So you don't want to be slouched. You don't want to be sitting all awkwardly. Sit like you know that you have been gifted with the power to heal and create at will, because it is the truth of your nature. And you're only sitting in mental training because you understand that a sound mind, inner resolve, it's what's going to allow you to create the sustainability and longevity of a life of health, wealth, and contentment, which is the whole package, which is what divinity wants for us. So that is the prerequisites for mental training. So let's get into the techniques. There are 5 techniques to this form of mental training. And although I break them down into 5, it's really one fluid movement. That's all we're doing. Again, we're simply learning to pay attention to the purest form of truth in our human experience in the present moment, because this is going to allow us to gain the knowledge and understanding we need to have of life if we're going to wield the power we have within us to heal and create at will. You're not here to struggle. You're not here to remain in a battle with life, a David versus Goliath story. At some point, you should come into such an inner peace, such a state of contentment, and begin to create from that state of being, because contentment is the truth of our nature. So these techniques, although they are broken down into 5, it's really a fluid way of breathing, because when you're breathing fluidly, it means you're moving fluidly. And if you can learn to pay attention to your breathing, you'll begin to see, where do you find discomfort in life? What is it that's making you breathe fast, that's making you breathe shallow, that's making you hold your breath? All these bits and pieces of life, these little details, are information for you to use, and a healthy mind will make the mental and physical adjustments it needs to make based on that feedback, based on that data. And we're simply not paying attention to life because we've been taught, told, and conditioned to believe that divinity is outside of us. But divinity is a word that stands for supreme power. It is synonymous with supreme power. And if you are supremely powerful, that means nothing in your reality, nothing in this physical world has power over you. So there's no reason to allow financial issues, health issues, relationship issues, life issues to keep you from manifesting the life you desire. It is only that we may have weak habits in place and very unstable beliefs, and that is allowing the mind to be unfocused and undisciplined. So we mentally train to strengthen all of that, to come back to the reality that a healthy mind simply means you know that divinity is not outside of you, and you know it so well that you're able to use that knowledge to live the life that you desire. All right. So the first technique is that we're going to keep our focus of attention on our breathing. The second technique is that we are going to breathe through any emotions, any sensations, any tingleness that arises during this form of training. The third technique is that you're going to consciously breathe in and consciously breathe out. So you're going to intentionally take air in and intentionally release it. The fourth technique is that you're going to make this in and out fluid. So don't hold your breath and don't pause. So you want to pay attention to every inhale and exhale to make sure that you're not holding your breath. So you don't have to control the pace or the rhythm. You just want to be paying attention to it. So really, you're just making sure that you're not holding your breath and that you're not pausing. And then lastly, as the body temple wants to relax, allow it to relax. And you're going to realize you have to give yourself permission to be content, because a lot of us hold the belief that contentment means settling, but that's not what it means in the context of faith. When you are content, it's because you are so alert to the present moment and you're so secure. You can see it and feel it and experience the sense of stability that this allows you to remain alert, but it gives the mind and body permission to relax. And that's the state we want to be in. If you're using your thinking faculty to judge, you're not necessarily relaxed. You're paranoid. Something about the moment makes you feel like you have to be on guard. But when you're using your thinking faculty just to see, now you're alert without a paranoia. You're simply alert and prepared to act if you would need to. But we have to give our body permission to relax. So that's what you want to be paying attention to. As you're sitting silent and still, pay attention to the inhale and exhale. Breathe fluidly, breathe on purpose, and give the body permission to relax, because it is going to want to. Divinity is supreme power. And when our mind is focused on supreme power, naturally the body temple is going to want to relax. So we're going to take some big, deep breaths as a warm up, and then I'll start the timer. And remember, we're sitting silent and still. So we're going to be breathing through any thoughts. Don't try to control your thoughts. Just breathe through it all. Ready? All right. 1, 2, 3. Big breath. Big breath. Last one. Big breath. And begin. So all you're doing is simply intentionally inhaling and intentionally exhaling. And you're doing it fluidly without pausing, without holding your breath. Maintain form. And we're breathing consciously. You're paying attention to the full inhale and full exhale. And you're doing so by intentionally breathing in and intentionally breathing out. Being mindful not to hold your breathing, not to pause. Keep it fluid. Allow the body temple to relax on its own. Don't force it. Pay attention to any tension or strain you have in the body. Just breathe through it all. Intentionally breathe in and intentionally breathe out. Maintain form. "11 minutes." In and out of the nose, mouth closed. Don't control your breathing, just intentionally breathe in and out. Go with whatever rhythm you feel. We're simply paying attention to our breathing. We're intentionally breathing in and intentionally breathing out. Very much alert to everything that is happening or being said or hearing or feeling in this present moment. We're aware of all of it from a state of mental peace. Let the mind relax and the body will follow. Again, your eyes can be open or closed. We're breathing right here in the present moment. So trust yourself. Trust the breath. Seven minutes. Breathe through any emotion. Talking to yourself is an emotion. Feeling sensations in the body is an emotion. Breathe through it. Intentionally take air in and intentionally release it.
Mom.
Continue to breathe fluidly. No pausing or holding your breath. Every inhale gets an exhale. Every exhale gets an inhale. All right, big breath. Big breath. All right, guys, that was 15 minutes of our mental training session. Again, there are 3 ways to use judgment. You can use judgment as a discerning tool. You can use judgment as a dismissive tool. And you can also use judgment as a distracting tool. It's up to you. But the only way to pay attention to how you're using your thinking faculty is to pay attention. And it's not necessarily that you're paying attention to what you're thinking, but rather you're paying attention to the power that allows you to think. This is where you understand that the creator always precedes creation. So we always want to be at the vantage point that precedes action. Before you can take action, before you can make a choice, you always want to make sure you're making action, or you're making choices and taking action from a sound state of being. You want to have a calm mind, because at least this way, you are never going to regret or be upset at whatever consequences that comes from taking action from a sound inner resolve. 15 minutes in the month of September. Welcome. I will see you guys tomorrow.